rings a bell when you open it. So nobody can pick this lock on the quiet. If you're sleeping next door or something and someone is picking the lock, it would ring a bell.
Which is your favorite heist film?
Oh, Money Heist. Which else? I came into lock collection about as soon as I entered the world of academia, which is about 37 years ago when I was just joining IIM Ahmedabad. In Ahmedabad, there is on the river Sabarmati bed, there is a flea market called Atwari. So I used to frequent that place regularly. And that's where I started seeing locks to start with. And so I have been an academic for about 20 years at IMA. Then I was heading the ING Vaishya Bank here for about 4 years. I'm also an author and a visiting professor in Europe and North America. So that's my brief background. But my lock collection today, I think I'm probably better known for my lock collection than for anything else that I may have done, including my books. But yeah, it's a 37-year-old hobby. We had just got married, my wife Meena and I, and we were holidaying in Gulmarg. And the little cottage that we were staying in, as we were checking out, there was this old lock. It didn't look like anything that we normally see on a daily basis. And there was a tourist shop right there. So I offered to the chowkidar, said, if I buy you a new lock, will you give me this old one? And he thought I was an idiot to give him a new lock for an old one. I thought he was an idiot to give me an old lock for a new one. So it was a win-win exchange. And that was a very unique one. Thereafter, we are both Tamilians, but we have never lived down south. We are both born and brought up in Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, and so on. So we were going around Tamil Nadu with temple architecture as a theme. And there was an old lock hanging over there, which looked somewhat different again. So I picked that up. And then I told you about this Atwari on the Sabarmati riverbed. I picked up one more. Now I had 3 locks, none of them looked like what we have and not like any of each other. That is what piqued my interest because I've always had a thing for collecting. Wherever I went, I would go to the flea markets, but I concentrated only on Indian locks primarily because it's our heritage that you want to keep in India. Of course, in terms of sheer numbers, I may have about 650 to 700, which doesn't sound very large, but these are typically different locks. Each one is a single piece of its kind. Okay, here are some sketching that I've done. I had started it as a project to demonstrate how each lock works, but I never got to completing it because the numbers grew faster than I could draw them. For instance, it tells you step by step how a certain lock works. If I disappear from the landscape today, most of these locks can never be opened. So I thought I'll try and demonstrate all of them for posterity. In the previous life, Draupadi did this big tapasya. Those days, if you wanted any big boon, you would do some tapasya. So she said, I want a husband who is wise, brave, high on dharma, extremely handsome, a scholar par excellence. So Lord Shiva said, look, guys, even with one quality don't come so often. You want 5 qualities in one guy. Where am I going to get you? She said, sorry, but I've done my tapasya. So he says, okay, in your next life, you'll get all the 5 qualities in your marriage. So in the next life, the 5 guys, each one had one property. And so she got all the 5 properties in her marriage, but not in one husband, in 5 different husbands. Then you talk about this lock which had 5 keys, for example. Okay. So there's one lock, but there are 5 keys. Like there was one Draupadi and there were 5 Pandavas. Actually, even animals lock. You see, when a squirrel takes a nut and hides it under the ground, what is it doing? The knowledge of where it is the key. Okay, so hiding is locking. Basically, we are doing exactly the same thing, but because we are a little more evolved, we are doing it a little better. Okay, so yes, in that sense, hiding is very, very basic to organisms. And human beings are no different, except we have figured smarter ways of doing it. That's all.